Hi all, it's 21 week pregnancy diary. This is actually my second attempt, as my first one, for some unknown reason, the lip sync was totally out. Hopefully this one won't be, because it's just meaning I'm getting behind. Please excuse the state of me. I am, as you can see, it's 7:20 on a Saturday morning. I'm not showered yet. I'm in my night after makeup. Don't I look delightful? And I'm a bit tired because we've had Addie up from 4 because she's been poorly. So I'm over halfway, which is excellent. Feels like you're finally on a downward slope. Please excuse Addie in the background. Hopefully she'll be not too noisy. It hasn't been a bad week actually. I obviously haven't come back to you since my scan post where I put up about how bad the scan had gone for my 20-week scan. Obviously then it was really very raw because I filmed that sort of a couple hours after what had happened with the scan. But I now feel in a much better place emotionally. I have come to terms with what we saw, or what we didn't see, should I say, maybe. And I am a lot happier about how I feel about the whole situation. If anything's wrong, it's wrong. There's nothing I can do about it. And I hope for our sake and baby SweetPea's sake there's nothing wrong. But if that's the way it is, that's the way it's supposed to be. I believe in fate, and life brings only what you can deal with, I suppose, is the best way of putting it. So, pregnancy-wise, I'm still being sick at least a few days a week, which is no fun, but hey-ho. Nausea is still there nearly all week. It's quite horrible in the mornings, but there we go. I had it with the other two, so I'm not too honestly surprised. I think the worst thing is Grayson's been really unwell this past week, so my usual sort of nausea and tiredness is been magnified because I've only been getting a couple of hours sleep a night. And it just makes you, when you're pregnant, it makes you so much more run down anyway. So it's definitely harder being pregnant the third time round. I know I noticed it certainly when I was pregnant with Addie, that it was harder than being pregnant with Gray, and this time is even worse because you just don't have those rest periods when you've got two other children, like you can hear now, trying to be looked after. You just don't have those rest times. I mean, I'm very lucky. Ashley allows me to have loads of naps, etc. when I can, but between working full-time, Grayson's appointment schedules, and having two babies, or two children, it's not too easy. So with regards to baby SweetPea, he is the size of a large banana this week, about 8 inches long. So he's getting really quite big now, which is good. Funnily enough, my craving this week has been bananas and cream. So whether they're linked, I doubt it, but just interesting that the two seem to have come together. I am still feeling quite anxious because there's been no fetal movements, but that's okay. I am just breathing through. There are loads of people. I was reading Katie, Mummy Daddy Me's blog again today, from when she has been pregnant with her baby number 2, and she didn't have fetal movements till 21 weeks. So I'm not panicking because, like I say, we have our private scan booked on Sunday, tomorrow morning, and that will give us a good chance to see what's really going on. I have been embracing the fact that obviously I'm having a boy. I have been doing some shopping posts, things I'd really like to have for baby SweetPea. I'm a shopaholic anyway, but since having children, that has purely moved on to my children, and I shop way too much for my kids. I actually like baby boy clothes better than little girl clothes. So see the links below. I have put for my first few shopping wish lists for baby SweetPea. As I said, we have our private scan booked for Sunday, tomorrow at 10:15. This time we aren't going with the children, so there should be no complaints, although I'm sure private scan won't complain anyway. It'll be nice to have that private scan and have someone spend time looking at everything to do with baby SweetPea. I will be taking my pregnancy notes and I'll explain a lot of my history anyway, so it will be good. I will explain everything and we'll go into detail and hopefully get to see a really good look and see if there's anything they can explain why baby SweetPea's maybe not moving, etc. I also have my NHS scan on Thursday. I'm not so excited about that, if I'm honest, which is quite sad, really. I'm a little bit apprehensive that it'll be the same woman, but if it is, I'm refusing a scan. So we shall just see. I'm not going to get myself worked up about it because my blood pressure is already through the roof and I don't need it to be through the roof anymore. We are seeing my OBGYN in 3 weeks, so that's good. Give me a chance to talk to him. As I said last time, I got on with him quite well. He has said if I'm unsure of anything to give him a call sooner rather than later. So if, depending on what happens on Sunday scan or Thursday scan, I'll certainly be calling him if I need to. The only other real couple of funny pregnancy symptoms I've been suffering is sleep issues, which most pregnant women will tell you from 20 weeks, certainly sleep becomes slightly more uncomfortable. I hate the saying that my mother used to use, which is, your body is preparing itself for a newborn. I think that's a load of tosh. I'd rather be sleeping. I have 2 children that barely sleep anyway, so giving me pregnancy nightmares, pregnancy sort of anxious feelings while I'm asleep, and restless legs and all those things, I'd rather not have. The only thing I have been suffering with really early this time, which I didn't suffer with till well in my 30 weeks with the other 2, is swelling in my hands and feet. I have a rare condition called UCTD, or unconnective tissue disorder, which causes swelling anyway, very similar to severe arthritis. I have to come off all my medication when pregnant, and I always thought it would actually cause me so many more problems during pregnancy, but funnily enough, it didn't seem to be that bad with Addie or Gray, but this time with SweetPea, I've definitely got swollen hands and feet already, so I'm dreading what I'll be like by 30 weeks when I was starting with Addie and Gray. That goes in line with actually getting quite panicked. We have a once-in-a-lifetime holiday, as they call it. Sorry, calmed her down. Yeah, as I was saying, we have a once-in-a-lifetime holiday booked for Grayson to Disney in May. It already had to be postponed in September due to my miscarriage in August and Grayson having a lot of health issues in September. And I'm panicked because I'm going to be 8 months pregnant and I am not particularly fit, obviously, at the best of times. And I just don't want this holiday to be ruined because of my pregnancy coming when it hadn't really been planned. Like I say, it's a once-in-a-lifetime holiday for Grayson. It's cost us a lot of money, and we had luckily some funding towards it as well, and none of those will ever be replaced. So I'm just praying that my pregnancy symptoms calm down and I can sort of manage it, because he's never going to get to do it again. So he deserves to have that holiday of a lifetime, and hopefully that will go to plan. Bump must be growing because people keep commenting on it. I personally don't think it's really grown that much. Ash did notice last night, but I think that's more because I'd eaten a ton of Mexican food. I think people just, where I'm big anyway, obviously no one's going to walk up to you and go, oh, you're looking fat or fatter before the pregnancy, but as soon as you tell everybody you're pregnant, everybody wants to say there's a bump, when to be honest I don't think mine really is, but that's okay. I'm really excited because we're obviously off to the baby show a week today. I love the baby show, so does Ash actually. He's one of those rare men that loves to shop. Sorry. We like going because you get to see all the new gadgets. We both love sort of tech products. We're a bit geeky like that. We like to have new products when we can. And I think you just get, at the baby show, get to see so many more products you wouldn't normally see. On top of that, I get to go and stand at the stocker stand for a while and look at all the products I love, because we all know I'm a fan. We're definitely getting the Sleepy, so I'm really excited about that, but I really desperately want the Cruisy too, so I think I should have another play with that and see if I'm definite on that and try and convince Ashley a little bit more. And the great thing about the baby show this time is there's loads of mummy and daddy or parent bloggers coming, so I get to meet up with a load of them, which is always fun. As I said, it's been a much better week for me emotionally. Excuse me. I'm doing a lot better with what happened. I sort of questioned myself last weekend as to whether I'd made the scan worse in my head, because obviously your hormones are running wild, and I'm a particularly pessimistic person most of the time anyway. So I sat down with my optimistic psychic, Mr. Spencer, and said to him, did I make the scan worse than it was? Did I sort of blow it up in my head? And he wholeheartedly is behind me and says, no, 100%, that was a bloody awful scan. He said the only difference is he walked out of there not feeling so negative or panicked as I did, because Ashley, like I say, is very optimistic and says, to be honest, she did a bloody bad job of the scan, so we really don't know what's going on in there, and let's wait and see. Hence why he was so definite for me to book the 30-week scan as well. Oh, not 30 weeks, the private scan. So I feel good about that, because it makes me realise that actually it wasn't something in my head. We then had a good talk about the fact, obviously, that Grayson's disabled, and that if baby SweetPea's disabled, if you'd asked both of us 4.5 years, 5 years ago, whether we would cope with a disabled child, I'm sure hand-heartedly we both would agree that we never would have coped, and I certainly said that I could never cope with a child that had disabilities, let alone the severity of Grayson's disabilities. But I'm proving myself wrong, and I'm proving everybody else wrong, because we are coping. Don't get me wrong, there are days you would certainly not believe that, because I just cry and cry and cry. And I've certainly been more emotional with this pregnancy because there's been so many things thrown at us. But Grayson does have a pretty good way of life, or the best way of life Grayson can have. I give him everything I can, and I do everything I can for my son, as does Ashley. And the only thing that would make it a bit better would be a ton of money, but that's not going to happen, so unless we win the lottery. So we do the best we can with what we have. And I know if baby SweetPea has the same sort of problems, we will again, because I love my children no matter what, and I will care for them all no matter what. But honestly, in my heart of hearts, I pray to God that he isn't like Grayson, partly for selfish reasons, partly because my daughter deserves a sibling that can play with her. You can hear her playing now. But she always plays on her own, and any parent will tell you that's not really what you want for your children. My dream is for my children to play happily together and grow up together and have great friendships, and at the moment Addie can't have that with Grayson, and hopefully she can have that with baby SweetPea. That was our intention when we decided to have a third child. The added problem of Grayson takes a great deal of care, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And let's be honest, that's only going to get harder as time goes on. So to think of dealing with that twice over and then stretching time for Addie, it would be difficult. There's no word of a lie, that would stretch us all, I think, a little bit too far. But we could do it. We do it now with 2, and we work a lot of hours, and we would do it with 3. So really that's it. I just want to say a huge congratulations to Katie of Mummy Daddy Me Makes 3, as she had her second little girl this week. So as a family, we congratulate Katie, Mystery and Mads on the birth of their little girl. She is so beautiful. I hope everything's going well for Katie. I'll put a link below to their blog, and you'll see some beautiful pictures of her already. So we congratulate them, and I hope all the other pregnant ladies are doing well. Take care. Bye.